Hello there, World of Tankers. I'm Blitz, and today I wanted to voice my opinion on the Sheridan. Now, this is a tank that's been controversial ever since it hit the game. A lot of people love it, and a lot of people hate it. And I'm just going to say, this gameplay you're going to be seeing here is completely live. So you're going to see how I play the tank as the game rolls, what's going through my mind, because a lot of people think that the Sheridan's actually a very overpowered tank just because of how point-and-click easy it is to run. But in my opinion, it's not that easy anymore. In fact, I find the Sheridan actually a challenging tank to run. And that's why I wanted to make this video. A lot of people think, including me, I thought the Sheridan was an overpowered tank before today, because I haven't pulled it out in months, because I just don't like playing the missiles. Now, I still dislike the missile aspect on this vehicle. The ability to shoot people over a ridge is unfair. I think it's very stupid, and that's something that should be fixed on this tank. The other thing that I think is completely unfair on this vehicle is the spaced armor. You should not be able to bounce 183 shells on the edge of this tank because they didn't hit the main hitbox of it. That's something that as well should be fixed on this tank. I feel the entire armor profile of this tank should be what you're looking at. HEs should easily be able to hit it, everything like that. That is my opinion on the tank. But other than those two things, honestly, it's pretty challenging to run in the average game because it's received quite a bit of nerfs. First of all, heat penetration went from, 374 down to 340, which isn't a massive amount, but it is going to make the difference from being able to penetrate the upper plate of a mouse with your missiles to not being able to penetrate the upper plate of a mouse. As well, the standard pen was nerfed from, what was it? It was 240, I think, all the way down to 220. And while that, again, doesn't sound like a ridiculous nerf, here's the issue I found with a Sheridan before, is when you would go up against a tank like an E100, you could easily penetrate it right through the frontal armor. Now, you can't really do that anymore. Going up against an IS-7, IS-4, you really can't penetrate them in the frontal plate. Now, this tortoise here, I'm going to shoot a missile. And you're going to see the reason why I don't like missiles is because they're dead-eye accurate. It requires no skill to fire a missile if the enemy's sitting still. A target like that tortoise really has nothing it can do to dodge my missile. Now this leopard here, I don't know if I'm going to shoot an APCR. I'm going to just because, yeah, that hit him. I don't think it penned, but it definitely hit him there. But you also see how quick the shell velocity is on this tank. It's definitely, in the right hands, an overpowered vehicle. And that's the thing I have to say about it, is that in the wrong hands, this tank is completely awful. And that's why I think you really can't nerf it. A lot of... Ooh, I don't really like this right now. Let's see if we can tap this leopard again here. There we go. Nice little tap there. But the thing is that even with all these shots I'm firing, the tank doesn't have a great damage per minute. It's like, what, 2,500? At best, you got to spend your time aiming. Really, you're only going to effectively say about 2,000 damage per minute with this tank at best. Which means that when you're running it, you're really not going to be doing... Oh, he's going to die. Really not doing that crazy in the vehicle. It doesn't have the best aiming time, you can see. It's got good shell velocity, but it doesn't have great aiming time. So it's got one factor, it doesn't have the other. And I'm not really being that effective to my team right now. Yeah, I'm helping them, sniping the enemy from the rear, but overall, I'm not really helping them all that much. I'm just tapping the enemy, doing the best I can. Now, of course, we're going to get a decent amount of damage out this game, but when I run the Sheridan, I average, I'd say, around 2,500 to 2,900 damage, which is a lot less than the average damage I'll do in a normal tank. And that's because, as I said, Sheridan has really bad damage per minute. It doesn't have great penetration values. A lot of those numbers really start to add up when you think about it. The tank just doesn't do spectacular. The reason people hate it is because of a thing right there. I pulled out, I tapped that 62A, and I took 492 off him. Now, if you were in a normal medium, you'd be taking 360 off. So people just don't like the ability that you can peek-a-boom somebody for 560 hit points. But, as you saw here, really, I spent that whole game non-stop aiming, non-stop shooting, doing the best I could, and I still only did 3,200 damage. And that's the thing about the tank, is that it is a great vehicle. In the right hands, it can be very, very overpowered. If I run this tank, yeah, I can get a 5,000 damage game out. I can get a 6,000 damage game out. But the thing is, I can do a 6,000 damage game any day of the week in an E100, a WZ-113, because I'm aggressive, I'm up in the front line, I'm doing the damage, I'm constantly shooting. A Sheridan, you have to be careful. If you go too aggressive, this tank has literally zero armor. As I said before, yeah, it can bounce shells in the frontal armor. The side armor can bounce shells, but honestly, you're not going to bounce anything in it. If you hit this tank dead on in the center mass, if you shoot it in the turret, which is effective about 150 on the front, you're not going to bounce anything. The tank that is overpowered is that one right there. That is the tank that I absolutely despise. The Sheridan, not really that overpowered, honestly. The reason the T92 is overpowered, first of all, it's a tier 9 version of the Sheridan with the same gun. So it has the same penetration, which means that if you're playing up against tier 10s, well, you're pretty much just like running a Sheridan. But if you're playing against tier 8s, then your penetration becomes exponentially good because you can easily penetrate pretty much the heaviest frontal armor on a tier 8 vehicle. Snap you, but as well, the T92 is a much smaller armor profile. As well, it's got that ridiculous slant you can see on the front, which makes it stupidly thick. I'd say it's actually around 200 millimeters effective on a T92's frontal hull, which is something that it really shouldn't be. As well, I don't know why, it's just a feeling I get, but I actually feel that the T92 is more accurate than a Sheridan, because honestly, it hits every shot that it fires, which I don't know why it is. Whenever I run the vehicle, just every shot that you fire pretty much hits. See if we can tap him there. There we go. I do like the shell velocity on this tank, but I definitely think it shouldn't be as fast as it is. Maybe lower it by about 15%. Make it just a little bit slower. You shouldn't be able to snap the shells that good. It's still not a completely balanced tank, but I don't think it's overpowered. As you saw there, that shot was pretty good aimed in, and it completely missed. Shouldn't have missed, but it did because it doesn't have great dispersion. It's like running a tier 10 version of the T49. Now right now, they got that T92 back there, but he is not aiming at me. Let's see if we can tap him here. I don't know what's up with that Sheridan. Ew, it's because my T92 is being a really bad player. He's going to block me here when I try and get away. Please, dude, move your butts. That Sheridan, though. There we go. That was a nice one. You can see there, that's the thing I don't really have a huge fan of with the missiles. It's just that it kind of gives you an unfair advantage when you're behind a ridge or something and the enemy tries shooting you. You really shouldn't be able to do that. That's one strong opinion I have with the missiles. But you can see there, that aiming circle is huge when you're running this tank. It's honestly not that accurate of a vehicle. So I honestly don't mind the Sheridan that much. I did really hate it when it first came out. I've made a lot of hate videos about the tank, but I haven't played it since. This is literally the first day I've played the tank in months. So I feel it is balanced. Not 100% balanced. It still has some things about it that need to be tweaked. The armor needs to be tweaked. Some of the statistics on the speed need to be tweaked maybe a little bit. But overall, it's not ridiculously broken. And that's the main key factor that I really wanted to express, is that it's not a broken tank. There we go. Got him. Now, being able to peek-a-boom somebody like that is a little bit annoying, but you should always be careful when you're pulling up. I don't know why that girl would do that when he knows he's been spotted that whole time. Again, the girl just pulls right up there. I'm spotted. It's not like I'm not spotted there. He knew I was still probably going to be sitting there, so the fact that he did that is completely his fault. And half the time when players get themselves killed against a Sheridan or something like that, they'll blame the enemy team. Now, I don't trust that T92 at all. That E100's got a damage hammer. Actually, he's at, what, a 30, 35 second reload. Not too worried about that either. I'm just going to take my time here, but the Sheridan requires a lot of skill. Oof, that was an unlucky one there. I still have to be careful. I really don't want to get hit by that enemy T92, but I know he's pretty much an HE, so we're going to go looking for him. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there he is. Yeah, he got me. They just don't miss. I don't know why. They don't miss. But talking about the Sheridan, as I said, I honestly feel it's balanced. Now, you guys can argue with me in the comments. That's fair. This is a opinionated video, of course, but I'm trying to talk from the standpoint of everyone here, because when I'm playing the tank, obviously, it's going to be a little overpowered. You can see here I'm doing 4,300, but still, I'm doing 4,000 damage in a normal tank like the WZ-113. 111.5A, I can do 5,000 damage game 1 out of every 3-4 games I play in it. It's not like it's something that's super hard to achieve. It's just that The Sheridan, it's a little bit easier for me because I don't have to be as aggressive. I can take my time with the shells. It's got that big alpha. But again, if you get rushed in this tank, you are done. E50M versus Sheridan every time it wins. E5s easily tear apart them. Tank destroyers at the back of the map, they hurt you. The Sheridan is not invincible. The T92 is just the invincible tank. And the issue with the 92 is it just ruins rating battles. When you play tier 8 in ratings, you're pretty much constantly going up against a vehicle like the T92. Now I will say, this guy right here, it's almost a miracle I went up against, or he's on my team, but his Royal Fatness in the Sheridan has over 2,000 games in it, which he does really, really well in the tank, because obviously he knows how to guide the missiles ridiculously, everything like that. He pretty much non-stop spams the Sheridan, and he's a player that I dislike because he runs the Sheridan so much. It's fine with an average player because obviously, that was my fault there, obviously the Sheridan isn't going to be that good. Again, like a Foch, if you're an average player, you're going to do okay in the Foch. You're not going to do ridiculously overpowered because that's how the tank is. But if you're an overpowered player and you're running a tank that you can do really well in, unfair compared to the public in it, that's something that I really strongly go up against. And when people spam a vehicle, okay, maybe it wasn't that Sheridan that hit me. Now, I might die here. I hope that he won't kill me. No, he didn't. But when people spam the Sheridan, that's what really annoys me about this tank, is when a good player that knows how to run the vehicle spams it. Now, I'm just sort of screwing myself here. This is not a great game. As you can see, you can really quickly lose your hit points. That's something that's very easy to do in this tank. You can lose them. So, you can't be over-aggressive in a tank like this. Now, I know that WT's camping back there, but if we're really quick on our feet here... Oh, are you kidding me? Spent all that time going for him, all the way around, and... that always sucks. That was a waste of effort. But, yeah, the only thing I dislike, and I still dislike it, I really find it annoying when I see overpowered players running overpowered tanks. I find it almost abusive to the game, because it'd be like me running a Kennyatsu, or a Smasher. I'll run a Smasher every now and then if I'm trying to make a video on it or something, but, like, really, do you need to run a Smasher? You can run a KV2, have just as much fun. I'm gonna die here, probably. Maybe not. This guy's AFK. This is where the Sheridan's overpowered, getting AFK people in the butt. So we're gonna get a nice little HE in here. Okay, there we go. Let's see what we can do here. WT, not too fun, but I really just wanted to make my point on the Sheridan, because my original video on the tank, I absolutely loathe the vehicle, and I don't want to have that video still just out there lingering, saying that the tank is still ridiculously overpowered, because it isn't. It's not a ridiculously overpowered tank. So that's one thing I wanted to get out. It is still very strong. I would put on the edge of close to being overpowered in a good player's hands, but as I said, if you're not a great player, you are not going to do well in this tank. It actually requires skill. You have to pay attention to the map. If you camp in the back, your team's going to lose. A lot of people get pissed off at Sheridans when they camp at the back. The enemy team will, because they get hit by a missile or something, and they get penned once. But you look at their post-game stats, and that's literally the only damage they do. And that's the thing about the vehicle, is that a lot of people just get 1 or 2 shells out in the battle, and that's it. Okay, I do not want that E75 rushing me. Please don't. Please don't. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Okay. No! Still got a nice shell out there. But, you can see, even with the 3 missile tanks we have in our team, still not completely breaking the game. And that's because they just have such a bad damage per minute. It's really hard to maximize your damage per minute in the vehicle. When you're pulling out, yeah, sure, you're doing that 500, but then the enemy has 14, 15 seconds to easily aim at you. So, this is my opinion on the Sheridan. I hope you guys do agree with it. Of course, many of you are going to have your own opinions in the comments down below. And if I'm wrong, let me know, because I've only played about 10 or 15 games in it today, and this is the opinion I came up with it after playing it. I've actually lost my fair share of games. I haven't done ridiculously overpowered in all of the games. While I'm doing 3,000 damage a game, that's average for all of my tier 10s, so Just looking at the gameplay I'm doing here can't prove anything, but 2700 really not that great. I was way too aggressive at the beginning here. I would have done better in probably any medium tank like an M60, anything like that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. As always, make sure to hit that like button if you agree with my opinion. If you don't agree with it, hit that downvote button. Let me know. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.